Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Wednesday. It is full of golf. It is full of madness. It is full of everything. This is your live chat, 3 p.m. Eastern time. I'm in Eastern time. I got to tell you, I hate it. I wish it was noon. I like doing this at noon. 3 o'clock feels a little bit late for me, but same time for all of you. So I guess it doesn't really matter. We are going to spend the next hour or so doing mostly whatever you want. You want to talk about the Valspar? Great. You want to talk about March Madness? Sure. I'll opine wildly for a few extra minutes this year. No big deal. So yeah, whatever you want, get your questions, comments, and concerns in the chat right now. We'll go through this as we always do. A little bit of weather, a little bit of one and done. Then we'll start on the questions after some announcements. So let's get into this. Palm Harbor this week, last stop of the Florida swing. Well, it's kind of chilly, to be honest. These mornings, 51 degrees, 53 degrees, obviously warms up throughout the day. Thursday, pretty similar sustained winds throughout Thursday, basically 10 to 13 miles an hour. Friday morning might be a little bit better before you get some winds later in the afternoon. Does anybody really want my opinion on weather? I don't know if they really do at this point. I've been panged. I don't know what the word is, pinged about potentially getting a real meteorologist to give us like a golf report for Thursday and Friday. So we are working on a few different scenarios there so that I can just say, let the professionals have at this one. The one and done projected ownership, which is we're using Pool Genius, which by the way, we'll talk about Pool Genius quite a bit here. They are projecting Jacob Bridgeman, Brooks Koepka, Justin Thomas, and Jordan Spieth to be the four most popular selections this week. I suppose I agree with that. I'm not 100% sure about the Jordan Spieth stuff and where that's coming from. My big three are basically the Koepka, Thomas, Bridgman crew. I'm using a lot of Brooks. I'm using a lot of JT, and I'm sprinkling in a little bit of Jacob Bridgman here. All three, I think, are very good options. If you need to go farther down the board, I think you could go to Ryo Hisatsune. I think that you could go to Austin Smotherman, to be quite honest with you. But I don't think you're going to have to. There's a lot of players who you're probably not going to consider using. I mean, you could, there's a lot of people you're probably never going to consider playing again. You'll be just fine. Real quick announcements. So if you guys haven't seen it, I've, released the March Madness video for this year. I've got this web app where you can go through each one of the brackets and you can see, hey, I want to use leverage, which is fantasy point or points scored. Hey, I want to use edge, which is more of like an EV calculation. And you can do all of these little runs and have it in there. It's great fun. It's awesome. The professionals who do it are at Pool Genius, right? They do all the NCAA brackets, the NCAA Survivor, which is massive on Splash now. They've got like a $3 million contest, a $1 million contest, just craziness. So I'll be using their tools. If you want to use their tools, we get like up to 60% off, I think, because of the relationship we have with them. The link is in the description there. You can use it for one and done. You can use it for everything, Masters pools, Majors pools, all that fun stuff. Our tiers contest this week needs a little bit of love. I get it with everybody excited about March Madness and all that stuff, but we are tracking well for an overlay right now of the tiers contest. $25 per entry, $25,000 completely guaranteed. So there would be an overlay in this thing. And you just pick 6 golfers. 5 of them are your best scores. And then you go from there. Sorry, I meant to be sharing my screen as I was going through all that. I don't know what parts you saw and what parts you didn't see, but there's the web app. There's Pool Genius. There's the contest. So I don't know what you saw, what you didn't see. I'm on my laptop. Bear with me now. All right. Hey, Rick, thanks for the brackets video. I used it last year and spun off some of the coin flip selections and ended up placing third in a 500 person pool. Yeah, it's the only way to make a bracket is to do it with leverage. Sometimes it's going to work. Sometimes it's not. It has worked very well for us in the last 6 or 7 years. Sometimes it doesn't. That's okay. Still better than average and still gives us a lot of sweat. I'll make your custom model here. So this is Be the Man's custom model. So bear with me here because I got to fire this up on my laptop on another screen. So he says, doesn't tell me how many rounds he wants to use. So I'm going to use 24. And then I'm going to say Strokes gained off the tee for 35. I'm going to say strokes gained approach for 30. This is for Be the Man. Around the green 20, putting 10. And his final 5 are history. So that's going to be Innisbrook. Do I have it as Innisbrook or do I have it as the Copperhead Course? I think I have it as Innisbrook. Okay. So that would make Rio Hisatsune Be the Man's #1 golfer, Matt Fitzpatrick 2, Xander Schauffele 3, David Skins 4. Sick. 5 is Nikolai Hojgaard, Brooks Koepka, Austin Smotherman, Jacob Bridgeman, Rasmus Hojgaard, and JJ Spaun. Do we want to be early on Tom Kim this week? Let's take a look. Oh, don't do that, Rick, or you're going to lose your spot. I did this last time, and I got into a pickle where I lost all my tabs. I'm not going to do that this week. Do we want to be early on Tom Kim? Well, I'm thinking not particularly. Thinking there's not a, well, very accurate, right? Hits 65% of his fairways. That's 22nd on tour. Keeps it in play when he does miss. The putter's starting to get a little bit better. Oh, man. I don't know if this is enough. I don't think he's been all that good, quite honestly. But this is probably one of the fewer better spots for him. So I will cautiously say yes, but like I'm not pulling the Corey Connors thing from last week where I sat here and said, hey, it's all the Corey Connors top 20 money, right? That's not how I feel about this. I feel okay being early, not good. Brooks seems like extremely logical this week. Is he a horse anywhere else in the schedule around to make potential SIGs playoffs? Probably not going to play the playoffs. Probably not going to play a major championship. Purses are just too big. I agree with you, Jason, though. He's in a really good spot for this week. And I'm going to try to let him beat up on these dorks, right? That's kind of the way that I'm doing it. So if you look at everybody since the start of this year on the PGA Tour, I believe he's #1 in strokes gained from tee to green, and he is 1.51 strokes gained tee to green per round. And look at the putter, horrendous, right? Well, actually, over the last 2 starts, he's a net positive, plus 2.74, minus 1.16. That's 8 total rounds. That has been cleaned up. So now we're starting to get 1.5 ball striking and maybe a 0 or maybe a 0.3 per round. You're talking about 1.8 strokes gained per round. You're talking about 7.2 in the course of the tournament, a little bit of a bonus on top of that. Yeah, he's like very much in the mix to win this. So I'm using a lot of Brooks this week across all formats. Because of the second cut, I have to rethink everything I knew about putting and start from step 1. This is why I love the second cut, which is a podcast I do with Mark Himmelman and Greg Ducharme. It's news, and they're instructors, and they're great. Just to get steep on something like mallet versus blade and how it sets up for you. Like, yeah, it is amazing to have those different skill conversations and backgrounds. So yeah, I'm always rethinking that stuff. Hey, Rick, have you had any interactions with players about your website stats, data, and maybe even some of your critiques of their play? Any cool stories? Yeah, I probably don't want to name names, but yeah, yes, a few. I think they're, you find out when you do say something, more when you say something bad than you say something good, you find out who listens, or you find out who in their circles listen, and it gets back to them. So there's definitely been things where it's like, oh, so-and-so heard what you said about his putting or whatever. It's like, stats say it's nothing personal. Definitely have had some good interactions with players on the shot shape stuff and the radar stuff. That's really cool. Something that many of them haven't ever had visualized before, which I thought was cool. Some caddies as well like it. So yes, yeah, there is some cool stuff. Not a ton, but yeah, some cool stuff. Can you give me your top 3 not being Smotherman from $7,200 to $7,800? Sure. So this is cheat sheet. This is all my website, rickrollinggood.com. 72 to 78, not named Smotherman. John Perry, Christopher Reeton, Bud Cauley, I think would be the 3 there. I don't know what story you want to hear, Chris. It says, hey, Rick, do a story time for your listeners using your boots on the ground access now. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happens in person. I wouldn't even know where to start. Can you go through the players who didn't make the cut last week and see who the best option is to have a chance in the chance to win without the top 3 market? Okay, so this is players who missed the cut last week who have a chance to win in the win without market. All right, so this is very specific. I'm doing this on the fly, obviously. It's not particularly good, right? I mean, you have to win a golf tournament. So I would normally have said Ben Griffin, but his play, I don't think warrants that support. Aaron Rye, who won at Wyndham, similarly like tight, pinchy driving course, I suppose has to fall into that category. Who could actually win this or win without? I kind of think that's it. I mean, you boxed me into a very specific type of player in a very specific type of situation, and I kind of think that's it. Good thought process, though. Who are the best par 3 scorers? A couple different ways you could do this. You could go to the custom model and say, put all your weights on strokes gained par 3. You could go to the Holy Grail, go to stats. I think it's underneath scoring. Make sure you have the right field selected. Scoring, you could go to par 3 scoring average. And you will see the answer is, well, we could do, I still have 2025 in there. Higo, Whaley, Thorbjorn, Ben Griffin, Chad Ramey, Nikolai Hojgaard. Is it harder to pick back-to-back winners or back-to-back WTs? Yeah, sorry about that. That stinks. If you were back-to-back like Rory, Knapp, Morikawa, stinks. Is Bridgeman worthy of saving for a big event in a pick 2 league? Oh. Or does he have a better chance of earning more money this weekend? That's interesting. So you're probably picking like 60 to 70 golfers this year, right? So for it to be a big event, now he's obviously already won one, which, but he would have to be probably one of your top 24 to 28 golfers. And we have had some already play. Yeah. What I do kind of wonder what he would be like at Harbor Town, for example. I think you could convince me you could play him at Harbor Town or TPC River Highlands. Shorter. I could see that. Yeah, I'm okay with that. What do you feel about Andrew Putnam on DraftKings? Can you do a deep dive and see if he has the value? Yeah, let's look. Andrew. Whoops, I clicked Michael Putnam. Let's try Andrew Putnam. Andrew Putnam is not Putnam right now. So we've got 5 consecutive events in which he's lost strokes putting. Short game's been good, which is nice. Approach play's been solid. Results not very good. Outside of that T2 at the American Express. Yeah, I don't really love this. I really don't love this. He's missed the cut in 5 straight trips here. No, I don't think so. The Chris Reeton deep dive. Might be Reeton. I forget how he pronounces this. I go back and forth. So the problem, and I kind of thought this was the problem, is he is a very bad approach player. Even when he won the Nedbank Golf Challenge in December in South Africa, he lost strokes on approach, and he gained a massive amount with the putter. Drives it well. Approach plays lost in like 7 straight. The rest of his game's okay. Very narrow path to the top of the board for him, unfortunately. David Lips. I got some texts about David Lipsky this week. Let's look together. Let's look together at David Lipsky. 37th in Puerto Rico, missed the cut at Cognizant, 18th at Farmers, 44th at the American Express. So he hasn't even played a ton this year. When he's played, it's been okay. Valspar history, again, okay. 3 made cuts, 1 missed cut, nothing special. Has lost strokes putting in all 4 trips, but that's kind of one of his best things now. I'm not going to go nuts with David Lipsky, but I do like when you have a situation where, say Guy has historically struggled on course with this, but is now much better at that same thing, right? Like some type of combination like that where you're matching up timing or newfound skill sets or something like that. So sure, I mean he's like $6,500. There's very few good options in the $6,000 range, so Lipsky would probably be one of them. I was wondering on your custom model, are the golfers ranked highly good for only DFS purposes, or could you apply the rankings also to betting markets? So once you put your weights in, I mean, that's really just assigning players a score out of 100 of like how good they are at your weights, at your model. So in theory, that's at everything. Now you could, right? Like it depends what you put in. If all of your weights were round 1, high upside, like, okay, you might be making a model for first round leaders, and that might not necessarily be as good for a full tournament or for DraftKings or something like that. But in theory, yes, you're just making a ranking list with a score out of 100 to determine the gaps between players. Yes, Akshay is out. So Akshay withdrew. So if you look at the updated ownership numbers, am I sharing my screen? Yes, I am. So do I have this sorted by salary? I do. Okay. So the top of the 9K range is now getting a lot of love. I think this is actually 2 updates. I'm 2 updates in. So I think JT went up to 28% and now he's down to 25%. So that's why you're seeing that arrow come down. But basically what you're seeing is Bridgeman, JT, 24, 25%. 20%, 20% on Xander and Victor, 18 for Fitzpatrick. Ben Griffin's getting 21%. Then you're getting this range here. Nikolai and Corey Connors, 27, 23%. Keegan is at 26%, which like, there's a question coming up about Keegan that says something like, I don't understand, and I don't understand it either. Okay. He's one of the top, he's one of the top guys in the tournament predictor, which has been very solid this year. Again, I don't put my thumb on the scale. He's missed 3 out of his last 4 cuts here, but it was a runner-up finish in 2021. I get that historically, like this should be a total driving place, and he's been one of the best total drivers. My hunch is that what the model likes about him is similar to Nico Echeverria and Nick Taylor in a sense, is that like Keegan wins at a much, much, much higher rate than a lot of his peers, even if the rest of the results aren't that good. And then historically, like Keegan's, 100 round skill set is a total driving skill set, which would make sense here. Has he been playing great? No, but I get some of those signals. One and done picking between Brooks, Bridgeman, and Nikolai. Who is my Huckleberry? I'm going with Brooks, and I think Bridgeman you could use a lot of places. Nikolai you might never use, quite honestly, unless he is like the main man and at 3M or Rocket, and he's been playing well and he's the favorite because nobody else shows up. I think that could happen, and otherwise, I'm just going with Brooks here. Cantlay and Riley, or Connors and Colley for my final 2. Connors and Colley. I'm not sure it's that close for me. Will Tony Finau make the cut? I don't know if the knee surgery messed up his game, but it hasn't been good gunner for like a long time. I look at this profile and he's spraying it off the tee. He's not very good with his irons. He needs to have an amazing putting week with that new weird looking putter that he has to even sniff a top 20. This is all just really bad stuff. It is. It's just all really bad. Tony's, I hate to say I'm older than Tony, but I'm like, oh, Tony's at the end of his career. He's an old man, right? Let's put him out to pasture, take him out back, right? Like, I feel the same way. I feel all my body parts hurt too. Do you like Matty Schmidt at all for a DraftKings play? I was looking at Matty Schmidt's profile on Tuesday. Let me see this again. I could argue I like it more than I don't. So +7 at Cognizant, +7.5 at Puerto Rico, +2 at the Players. Now the Players was a T46, but that is, an incredibly deep field and an incredibly difficult golf course. So I would argue this field is kind of much closer to that Cognizant field, right? Maybe it's a little bit better than that. But this is good enough to for like a top 20 run this week. That would be the way that I look at this. Who is more likely to win again? Oh my God! So the options are Sungjae Im or Tony Finau. It's like 1,000,000% Sungjae Im. Sungjae's been hurt, and he is still like 25 years old. He might not even be that old. Sungjae is going to win like 5 more times. Tony Finau might not ever win again. Do you get to attend the Masters this year? If so, can I come? Well, I can't get you in. I can barely get myself in. So the story with that is, so I knew when I ended my relationship with CBS Sports that I was probably going to miss out on the Masters this year. And that is true. However, I do have thanks to a very good friend, a Thursday ticket in Berkman's, which is going to be sick. I've never been in there. So I'm very happy about that. So I'll be out there on Thursday, and then I'm going home. But it'll be fun. And then hopefully for 2027 to be out there credentialed again. Just got to figure that out. I got to figure out who to talk to about that. JJ Spaun. JJ Spaun, we have to wonder a lot about which version of JJ Spaun's putting are we going to get this week. So for the first time last week at the Players, he was a positive putter. Now, first time this year. Now, all of that came in round number 3, which makes me think that was the outlier and not the fact that he's back. So basically in every round that he's played this year, barring Saturday at the Players, he's been a pretty bad putter. It's something that unlocks a lot of the rest of his game, takes a lot of pressure off the rest of his game. I'm going to need to be more convinced that flat stick is back other than just one round. One and done. Bridgeman or Victor? Saving Xander, JT, Brooks, and Fitz. If you're trying to make up ground, you should... Well, hold on. If you're trying to make up ground, you should probably go with Victor. If you are front running, you should probably go with JT or Bridgeman. Excuse me. If you could only play golf in 2 states for the rest of your life, what 2 states? California, Florida. First thing that pops into my head. Year-round golf with an unbelievable amount of courses. So you get a mix of public, accessible, and private, high-end, cream of the crop courses. You, like I said, you get the weather. Is this like for my life or do I teleport, right? Because I know, like, maybe I would say New York if I could just teleport to these places, but I spend a lot of time in California. I spend a lot of time in Florida. So those are probably my 2 states. Texas probably doesn't crack for me, but from my personal situation, yeah, I think that's the answer. Any love for Billy Horschel? So statistically speaking, no. The only thing that I think is kind of interesting about Billy is that Billy is a capital D dog, right? Like he just hates having a chip on his shoulder. Like, he answers the bell a lot. And I think that he is gutted that he had to be the 7th alternate at the Players and did not get into that event. I think we're going to get Billy's best this week. Now, what his best is at this point, I don't know. But this is all narrative based. This is not really the statistical analysis I would prefer to give. If you were a betting man, what odds would you give Smotherman to WD due to the birth of his baby? I don't know. I'm not going to handicap his wife's pregnancy or when she is going to go into labor. I heard she's due on Monday. I have no idea if that is true. And I am not going to guess when that is going to happen. I have no idea. Any thoughts on Aaron Rye? Good course fit considering his driving accuracy usually has. Yeah, I think there's some interesting crossovers to Wyndham, and this would be a good spot. Is Patrick Cantlay playable in one and done, and is he worthy of a small unit play? I think you're going to have a hard time convincing me of this. God. No. He's losing strokes on approach in 3 straight. The putter's been negative more than it's been positive. He's got very little history here, and the history that he has is from 2017. He finished runner-up. He was a lot better player then. He missed the cut in 2013. I don't even think he was a professional then. I would not play this guy in one and done. And I wouldn't bet on him. And if his name wasn't Patrick Cantlay, it'd probably be like 150 to 1. I know the last couple weeks have been crazy with travel, etc. Any update on getting your model saved on the custom model tab for us to use as a reference? No updates other than the fact that it is still something that I have top of my list. And like you said, when I'm kind of back to getting into, I'll take care of it. My betting card, which you should not bet, right? You should do whatever you want, right? Spend your money however you want to spend your money. It's pretty light this week. Quite honestly, there's just a lot. I'm going to be first to 10 points for every underdog on Thursday and Friday for March Madness and all that stuff. But Jacob Bridgeman, Brooks Koepka. And then my finishing positions are, the bigger finishing positions that I have are Ryo Hisatsune and Austin Smotherman. Mostly just going with that. Rick, how's your strokes game putting with your new putter? You mentioned a few chats back that you got a new putter. What was it again? Still loving it. I have not used it yet. So that a few chats back, and I still haven't been home since then. So it is the black TaylorMade Spider with the white line. It's the Tour. No, it's not the new one. Double bend. I have rolled some putts with it, and I love it, but I have not used it on the course yet. I do like that it, 2 things I like about it. I have alignment issues, so I like that it sits flat, like sits down. It presents very well to the ball. And I also like that. So when I take the putter back, so when I'm looking down at it, so you have to think, I don't know how to show that to you on camera, but when I'm looking down and I move my putter back, sometimes I have a problem where my putter goes out, like off the line, like away from me. And that's a problem that I have. This one feels very like it never does that. Yeah, I can just kind of back and through very well. Favorite DFS play below 7K. Let me go through this. So I'm going to put a couple together and then I'll figure it. So David Ford would be on the list. Zach Blair would be on the list. Chandler Blanchet would be on the list. David Lipsky would be on the list. So Chandler is interesting because Jimmy Stanger would be on the list. But Chandler is interesting because the last time we saw him was Puerto Rico and he finished runner-up. And he is immense upside, right? So here's his last handful. Win, Korn Ferry Tour Championship. Cut, runner-up. Hello. The Zach Blair stuff is the accuracy, and he's had very few opportunities this year, but when he's had his opportunities, they've been pretty good. He's made the cut in all three across Korn Ferry and PGA Tour. He finished 8th in Puerto Rico, and his good play goes back to Bermuda last year. He doesn't have a lot of playing opportunities. I'm going to say Zach Blair or Chandler Blanchet, I believe is how he pronounces it. Should we be concerned that Bridge has been so strong with the putter, but he's losing strokes on approach? Is this a bad course for him? I don't think it's a bad course for him, and I don't think we should be too concerned. We should be aware. It's not like he's a bad – like, I would be concerned if he was a bad putter and all of a sudden he's gaining a stroke and a half with the flat stick. He's a very, very, very good putter. He's always been a very good putter. So the fact that he's dominating the PGA Tour in strokes gained putting, like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. And also his approach play has only been bad for like 3 out of his last 8 rounds, 4 out of his last 8 rounds, because it was very good from Sony all the way through Riviera. So no, I'm not concerned about that at all. I did notice that Doc Redman won on the Korn Ferry Tour. I said to Armina, hey, Doc Redman won on the Korn Ferry Tour. That's what I said to her. What's your take on Putnam and Steads as make the cut DFS flyers this week? We did Putnam and it did not look good. Let's look at Snedeker. Will says Sneds has 12 straight appearances, gaining strokes putting at Innisbrook as well. Yeah, he does. However, so it's 25, 24, and then he didn't play. Then he skipped a couple years, 2021. Didn't play in 2020, but I don't think this event was played in 2020. So yeah, you're right, but he's only played 5 times since 2018, though. So a lot of this stuff is when he was like a real competitive player on the PGA Tour. I don't think he's a real competitive player on the PGA Tour anymore. 4 straight missed cuts. His putting's pretty bad now. Yeah, I don't like either one of these guys. The Florida golf swing is always tough, but it has been particularly tough for Morikawa Ludvik backers or Knapp backers or Rory backers or all of them for some people. So I get it. I feel the pain. I was right there with you on Ludvik, who I mean, the Ludvik thing was a 5-figure swing for me. Easily. So that stinks. The Morikawa thing stinks just in general because you don't want to see a guy get hurt and who knows what his status is moving forward. I'm with you there. Like I've got him. I've already bet him in every major. Trying to think what else. Like the Knapp stuff stinks. The Rory stuff stinks. It's it's part of the game. I get it. It's part of the game. And Florida always seems to do that. Last week, you had a great call with Connor's top 20. Anybody you similarly like this week? I will probably end up, and again, you know what I hate? So I try to download the apps here in Pennsylvania, DraftKings and FanDuel and Fanatics and whatever. I can never get verified with the automatic verification. And that is not limited to just sports books. That's everything. Everything for my entire life. If it has one of those automatic verification things, I cannot get verified. I don't know why. I don't know if it doesn't like me. I don't know if I am too close to some. I don't know. It just does not like me. And I can never do the automatic verification for anything. So, but now everything is like AI. So like once you can't do that, it throws you into some crap. It wants like a full rectal exam for me to verify myself to put these bets in. So I don't know what I'm going to have to do, but I will, assuming I might just give my buddy money, but just kidding. That's probably against the terms and conditions. I will probably ladder Rio Hisatsune, like top 5, top 10, top 20, top 30. I'll probably do that. I don't feel as strongly about it as I did in the Corey Connors thing. I run a one and done league where we tally FedEx Cup points, prize money, and missed cuts. My question, should a withdrawal count as a missed cut? If he made the cut and then he withdrew, it should not be a missed cut, in my opinion. It should be if you make the cut, and then you WD, I think it's a made cut. And prize money, because I think you would also get prize money too. I think you'd get last place money. And then I think you'd also get last place FedEx Cup points. I think it's how it would work. So I would say yes. Knapp and Morikawa WD killed me. Being unable to pick them again feels like a double penalty. Could a new rule be no points, but since they didn't finish the bet, they go back into your pool? Probably not. Listen, it sucks. It sucks big time. But these are two different scenarios. Knapp withdrew before the tournament started. So what I think needs to happen is we need to do this. We need to say, hey, there needs to be an alternate. I assume we're talking about like one and done or whatever, right? So there needs to be an alternate that gets used if your player doesn't finish the first round. That to me is the best case scenario. I've had people say, oh, you should be able to use your alternate if your guy withdraws on Sunday afternoon. That's okay. That's a little much. The tournament has been like basically decided at that point. That's a little much. That would have caught both of these scenarios. It is a big difference between once you tee off and once you don't, or if you don't, because one, you get replaced in the field and one, you do not get replaced in the field. So I think the alternate thing, I think the best compromise is that if your golfer does not finish round one, you get your alternate. And that guy goes back into your pool. That to me is the best compromise here. Deep dive on Patrick Rodgers. Let's do it. Had a really good start to the year. I'm assuming he has cooled off because I haven't thought about Patrick Rodgers in quite some time. Oh my gosh. T11 at the Players Championship. You could have given me $1 million and I would have said there would been no chance I thought he finished T11 at the Players. It's been a great year. Hasn't missed a cut. Had the high finish at Sony. High finish at the Players. Decent finishes everywhere else. Patrick, you dirty dog, you. Sorry, I forgot to share my screen. This is... It's very inaccurate, which I hate that. He also he also 3-jacks everything, which I kind of hate that. He's also a pretty bad scrambler, which I hate that. Oh boy. Way better than I thought, but I do have to ding him for a couple things. So take me down to like a 4.5. Good day from Australia. Good day, mate. How's it? No, that's what they say in South Africa. Could the radar tool put up some fancy data as left to right? Sure. So go to the leaders, go to Valspar Championship, go left to right. Top players in this field: Clanton, Henrik Norlander, Andrew Putnam, Rico Hoey, Matthew Pavone, Wyndham Clark, Joel Damon, Paul Peterson, Zach Blair, my guy. Let's do it like this. Let's do Carey, left to right, Gordon Sargent, Gary Woodland, Brooks Koepka, Rasmus, Clanton, JT, Wyndham Clark. How you going? How you going? That's what they say. How you going? Where? I lost my spot. Hold on. Don't tell me, Mina. I know where it's at. Here we go. Can we get down with old man Glover here? I'm going to assume I'm going to hate his profile, but let's look. Old man Lucas Glover. Old man Lucas Glover is looking like an old man. It's bad. He can't putt. He could never putt. He used to cover that up for 20 years with the ball striking. This man is going to destroy. He's going to destroy the Champions Tour. He's going to destroy them. But for the next 4 years, he's probably going to struggle here. Thank you for the super chat. Never required, always appreciated. Ooh, Horschel or Ford to make the cut. I think Horschel is more likely to make the cut, but I think David Ford's ceiling is higher. My one and dones are almost exclusively Brooks and JT, with like maybe a little bit of Bridgeman. I saw that Masters pricing is out. I have not gotten that far yet. I haven't been home in 3 weeks. I'm trying to keep my head above water. I'm going to get to Masters stuff in the next couple of days, but whoo, doggy. Realistically, how much chalk should I be playing if I'm in the top 700 of the Splash Rick Rengood? So you're in the top like 12%. You should probably be taking one of the 3 most popular guys until further notice. And if you start slipping, start expanding that to the top 4, 5, or 6 guys. If you climb, tighten it up to maybe the top 1 or 2 guy. That's probably the way that I would do that. If you make me choose between Brooks or JT, I'm taking Brooks. Would using someone like Xander here make sense? I think highly of Xander where I'm going to use him somewhere bigger. Feels like a little bit of a, I don't want to say it's a waste, because if you get 1.7 million or whatever, it's not going to be a waste, but I think this thing's pretty wide open, and I think I'm going to use Xander at a bigger spot. Hey, Rick, I love your videos for golf and March Madness. I wonder if you might consider doing a Rookie of the Year video in the spirit of the March Madness video. What? Like, who's going to win the Rookie of the Year in the NBA or NFL? What would I do? I guess I could. I'm almost certainly not going to do this. I'm just going to be honest with you. Do not hold your breath for me doing this. It's a really fun idea. It would be a fun project, but there are probably 3 dozen things I would do before that. No offense, and I think it's fun and it'd be cool, but there's just not going to happen. What will be your go-to spot in Philly this week to watch March Madness? This is such one of those weird things where I just want to tell you where we're going to be, but I also don't want you to come murder me. So we are not going to be at Cavs Rittenhouse. We'll be somewhere in Chester County. I don't know. We have a place we go to every year. It's like we know the owner, and it's like a good spot, and it's fun. And if you see us, say hello. I don't know. It's weird. Just don't murder anybody. Okay. Max Homa had 21 birdies and 2 eagles last week. Upper left quadrant of breakouts. Is the kettle boiling? I believe so. Every shot I saw him hit last week, or I think I saw him hit every shot. There was so much good in there. There's also so much bad. But yes, I do think there is. Is on Splash, is there a way to see how many of each golfer were picked each week? Yeah, I think so. Let me log in. So if you go to, hold on, let me find this first. Okay, so go into the contest, go to players, and then you can go each week, right? So Players Championship, sort by highest ownership. Colin Morikawa, $0, 24%. API, sort by, still sorted, right? Colin Morikawa, 16%, 14%. So you can do this for every event. You can go to, I think if you go to availability, oh, it's for each. Yeah, here we go. It shows you the availability for each tournament. So Fitzpatrick's already been used by 30%. So he's only available to 70%. See that? See that? Okay. I believe Austin Smotherman is a legitimate contender this week. Yes, he's a great ball striker, but he's also putted very well here. And also, I just think he's getting better. I think he's rounding into his game. I think he's rounding into his body. I think he's getting used to being on the top page of the leaderboard. I think there's a lot of stuff. Thigala deep dive. A little bit worried about him keeping it in play here. Got to tell you that. Rest of his stats are very, very good, though. We've just got to keep this in play. We really do. Does he have any history at places where, like, they're tight? Let me look at his top 10s real quick. Like, is there any place that you have to be accurate? Harbortown, he finished runner-up. Is that it? The rest of these places, I mean, Harbortown twice. The rest of these places are kind of just bombs away. So that worries me a little bit. Why do I like Rasmus Hojgaard so much? It seems like every time I bet his brother, he does better than him. I got back and forth on these two. I actually think Rasmus has the better swing. Also, I met Rasmus for the first time last week. What a sweet baby boy he is. Oh my God. He is such a sweet boy. Those Scandinavians are so cute. All of them. They're so kind. They're just happy to be out there. So smiley. You ever notice that when they walk with one hand in their pocket? You ever notice that? Victor does it. Both the Hojgaards do it. That's a very Scandinavian thing to do. He's such a sweet boy. Anyway, 2 straight miscuts. The miscut, the players, I don't care too much about. Still gained a little bit with approach, was 0. You know, the putter got away from him. He's usually a very good putter. The miscut at Puerto Rico is a lot worse. The play before that was good. Has he ever played here before? Twice, I think. Miscuts in both 2025, 2021. It's not great, but raw talent, I think he's one of the best. So I know that's really not a good answer for you. 146th in a 750 person one and done. Thoughts on Fitz this week? You are probably you're kind of in a spot where you could do a lot of different things, right? You're not in the top 10%. You're not in the bottom. You could play Fitz. That'd be fine. To come out of nowhere and finish top 10, like literally nowhere, Michael Brennan. Happy spring break from Tampa. Ooh, spring break in Tampa. Compare and make a case for Blades Brown or David Ford for a better finish. Because this is a more difficult golf course, I think I like David Ford better. I think Blades Brown is an elite scoring machine. I think David Ford is starting to get more well-rounded, and I like him a little bit more here. If this was the Rocket, I'd probably go the other way. Loving the new look of the Showdown cheat sheet. Thank you. Way more to come. Yes, both I'm literally betting both Bridgeman and Brooks. The Paul Peterson thing is he's like one of the most accurate drivers on the planet. So I'm assuming that's why that name might be coming up. David Skins. Let's see. He showed up in Be the Man's model. Remember that? T8 in Puerto Rico. 3 straight events on the Corn Ferry. 2 missed cuts in a 75th year, but one of them was from 2023. There's really not a lot to go off of. I don't know. To me, he looks like a guy who is either like an average or a slightly below average PGA Tour player who has a low floor and a high ceiling is what he looks like to me. At least his most recent result is his best one. But he does have 2 top 16 finishes in his last 4 starts, but that's over 2 months. If you are front running a one and done, is it wasteful to deploy X here? If you're front running, and this is the start of a new segment for you, I think it is more acceptable. I'm going to use him in a bigger event. but he is the favorite here at 10-1 with the next closest guy at what? 15, 16, 18, something like that. If you're already front running and this is the first tournament of a new segment, I think it would be okay. Thanks for, okay. Look at this. This is how the internet is supposed to work. This is how society is supposed to work. Thanks for correcting me on Ricky Castillo last week. I thought they were pronouncing it wrong on the broadcast. Thank you for coming back and admitting you were wrong. And it's okay. No worries, mate. It's all good. We're all learning this together. Thank you, Chris. Are we able to manually add players to the custom model? No. Though I hope you wouldn't have to, right? I mean, it updates every morning. So is there somebody missing? It should be completely up to date at this point. Even after who got in after the Akshay? Oh. Maybe you're saying because they might not get added to the DK pool. Let me just write that down. I think I'm understanding your question. We did that. Optimal March Madness Survivor picks for day 1 and 2. Day 1, I think, is Nebraska or Arkansas. Day 2, let me look real quick. Virginia or Kansas. Now, I will say this. This is highly dependent on your pool. Okay. If there was ever a use case for the Pool Genius stuff, it's NCAA Survivor, because you have to make sure all your paths are correct. You have enough teams remaining. Your teams don't run into each other. And it's very dependent on your pool with your rules. When do you have to start picking 2 teams in a single day? When do you just pick one? How big your pool is? All of that matters. So like if you were like, I don't know, like that, if you were only going to buy the Pool Genius stuff for one type of contest, it should be this one. How close is Splash to filling that $3 million? There's no chance they fill this $3 million thing, right? They need 18,000 to fill this, right? 18,000 times 150. Did I do that math right? Or let's just do this. 3 million divided by 150. 20,000. Good job, Rick. They're at 9,200 with, I guess you can get in until Thursday night. So they still have more than 24 hours to go. But man, that's not going to fill. I don't know. Go blue. Basically, everybody gets a pass for a missed cut at the players, especially a guy who was as cheap as AJ Ewert. So yes. Yes, Rio Hisatsume is probably my 3rd or 4th favorite in one and done, especially if you're trying to make up ground. I do not think Chad Ramey has found something. I'm in a large March Madness bracket group of mostly Illinois alum. Yeah, so here's the thing with this. You got to be smart, just like Toby here is, or Tobe JK is. If you are in Ann Arbor, Michigan, do not pick Michigan to win the whole thing. Okay. If you are in Illinois, probably just have Illinois losing to Houston here. They're going to be a dog against Houston. Just have Houston advancing. And then probably just have Houston advancing to the Final Four. You probably don't need the South is wide open, right? So you probably don't want to take Florida there. I would have taken Illinois there, but if everybody you have is going to be taking Illinois, run Houston through. My opinion. How do you like Corey Connors here? medium. How I always like Corey Connors. How I think he's going to finish T18. Alex Smalley deep dive. I haven't done that in a while. It's pretty good. Approach play has been very sound the last couple of starts. 2.6, 2.1, driver back. This is starting to fill the gaps. I mean, look at what he was doing at the end of last year. Red almost across the board. Look at what he's done this year. You know, you see that like X thing? That pops, that it's weird. It's like an optical illusion, almost like when you scroll through. It almost shows you the way a guy's filling in the gaps here. And that's exactly what he's doing. This is pretty good. I like this a lot. His history here stinks, but otherwise, very good. This is also a place where sticky history is not around a lot. Love the live leaderboard. However, strokes gain numbers. Are you talking about the... Okay, so two things. You might be talking about this live leaderboard, which, yeah, I licensed this from from a data company, right? You've probably seen this, like DraftKings and FanDuel have the same thing. Their strokes gained are a little wonky. I'm just going to tell you that. I don't. They're not the official PGA Tour strokes gain. Now, I don't want to call it a live leaderboard. My Showdown cheat sheet is official, but you can look at it from totals, ranks, averages, all that stuff. Doesn't have the plotting, the shot plotting. But yeah, it's the whole thing. I'm not playing Eric Cole on a golf course where accuracy matters. I stepped on Morikawa landmine last week. So did 5 others in a 12-man one and done. I'm down 5 million in an 11th. Is it time to panic and get crazy with my picks? Yeah, probably. 11 out of 12 and down 5 million. Yeah. As a golf bettor, do you know what percentage of weeks you are in the black versus in the red week to week? Yes. I have a spreadsheet. Full rectal exam or going through Ludvik last weekend. Full rectal exam. I would trade Ludvik winning last week for a full rectal exam. Listen, it's also probably good. Like men over 40 or 50 should be getting them anyway. You might be preventative. You might catch something. There could be good outcomes to a full rectal exam. There were no good outcomes for that Ludvik thing. Wait, what? Rick, you never know. They may be singling you out due to your wealth or knowledge of possible inside info. I think you should let them know when you're leaving town. That's what I do and have no issue. Is that based on the verification thing? I don't know when you sent that message because I'm behind, but rectal exam. Now that's something I can get behind. Nice. Well done there. I tried to use the custom model for Showdown on round 3 and 4, and neither round was there. That would be surprising because I uploaded them myself every day. So if you have that issue, email me because that should not be an issue. If I'm you, Bob, I would play JT. Yeah, Mina is the queen of the curse. She curses everybody. She puts a hex on them. Dude, I would love to be. So there is nothing I would love more than to be a Las Vegas A's season ticket holder. But if you think I'm giving my money to that owner, you're out of your freaking mind. That guy is a clown. And us taxpayers should not even be giving him any money for that stadium after he held Oakland hostage and then moved the team to. That's just such BS. I would be a A's season ticket holder now if he just sold the team. Guy's a clown. I think it's best to use weighted strokes gained when you have players from a bunch of different tours or fields. So, for example, the signature events, I don't think you need to use weighted strokes gained because the signature events, you basically get, for the most part, the same-ish 70 players who play a lot of the same events together, all that stuff. In the middle of the summer, when you have 3M and John Deere and Rocket, I don't think you need to use weighted strokes gained because those guys are all playing against each other. But when you have an event kind of like this one, where you've got guys who played the Players' Championship last week, you have guys that didn't qualify and played in Puerto Rico last time we saw them. You have guys that played the Cognizant, some that didn't. You have some guys that played Cord Ferry, some that didn't. You have some guys coming over from the DP World Tour, split schedules. I think this is a good time to use weighted strokes gained because the runner-up for Chandler Blanchet in Puerto Rico should not be the same as Xander's runner-up or whatever it was, third at the Players. Shouldn't be the same, obviously. So this is the type of week I think weighted strokes gained is usually better. I thought Rory's Masters menu was just perfectly great. Not Hideki's, not whatever. Looks delicious. No risks. Looks delicious. Yeah, Kalshi has a free $1 billion bracket. Yeah, I'll double it. If you have a perfect bracket, I'll give you $2 billion. Okay, just no problem. No worries. Just go sign up for rickrungood.com. So I don't have it in front of me, but there's also the whole entire documented picks that I do for Dan on Golf, which I think are last year was up 20% ROI. Right now, I think we're up 92% ROI. It would look very similar to that. This just says gay conversion, which is a weird thing to say. Riley and Cantlay are Cawley and Connors for DFS purposes. Cawley and Connors, and I don't think it's close. I think I answered that. Am I a fool for being super confident in Bridgeman? No. I like Bridgeman a lot. All right. Better take another look at Ramey. Okay. Let's do it. Happy to say I'm wrong if this uncovers something. How could it not? This guy's name is Joe Mama 69. This has to be completely on point. Let's see Joe Mama 69. This is the big reveal for Chad Ramey's profile. It's okay. I mean, it's definitely not bad considering it's Chad Ramey, right? He's made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of his 7 cuts this year. The putter's been very good. I'll tell you what, Joe Mama, I was expecting worse. So you are right. You are right about that. I still don't think it's very good, but I was definitely expecting worse. All right. It's weird doing this at 3:00. Now it's 4:00. All right. Happy March Madness, everybody. To all who celebrate. I'll be in a bar somewhere in Chester County, Pennsylvania. Ooh. It'll be very good. Hopefully all your brackets stay unbusted for as long as possible. It's going to be a great Valspar. I don't have anything fun to say. Mina, shut it down. See ya.